Hello. This is the Daniel Vaillant Show, which I wanna change it into, and that's what this episode is about. We're gonna change the name into just the brand extension GM edition. And I'll try my best to talk about what led to this in another show. But that's what I'm gonna change that name, because I'll never forget when I saw the preview of, when I say preview, I saw a commercial. They used to do this a lot in the TNN days before Spike TV. I could not believe that Eric Bischoff was on Raw as a general manager. I couldn't even say anything because I was so shocked. And like I heard on a Smart Guy, for people who grew up in the 90s, you know what show that is. Shocked! I was shocked! I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. The same person that gave away the results of Raw in 95 and 96, no telling how much longer he did it in 96. But the one who was giving away results of Raw when it was pre-taped has now control of the Raw Superstars. Unbelievable! So that's going to be what I want to talk about on here. I believe it started close to the summer of 2002. So I'll just look it up by looking up Eric Bischoff. It'll take some time, going down on the pages. General manager of Raw was 2002. July 15th. Perfect time. So that's going to be where I start. Okay. I will continue talking about 96 and 97 and so forth. Okay. What else I wanted to say was, 1999. The year I turned 10 years old. I actually didn't watch any of Raw from, say, 96 through 99. I didn't watch Raw literally until the time that Devin McMichaels was managing Jeff Jarrett in the WWF, and Jeff Jarrett had short hair and he was teaming with Owen Hart. So I literally did not see any WWF from that time until a few years ago when I saw some videos. Not a few years, say a long time ago. I was in adult ed, mind you, but I was an adult, but this was a long time before the WWE Network started. So you could say about 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't see anything from Raw because of how bad it was. But what I noticed was how when they started to move away from the Goldust stuff, was when it started getting a little easier to watch. The only edgy part of it became DX. Now, those are things I do have to fast forward, but for a different reason. It's just for the fact that it's indecent. But anyway, let's see, 2002. Let me just say this. In the beginning of 2002, they had, Ric Flair was the co-owner of the WWF. Matter of fact, Royal Rumble 2002 was when Vince McMahon went against Ric Flair. And I believe because of the confidence or the emotional backstage talk that Vince had with Ric Flair, that's why it ended up being better than expected, because Vince McMahon is not a wrestler. He's a promoter second and actually a commentator first. But by this time, he just became a regular on-screen character. And I told my mom this the other night. The reason I found out about Stephanie McMahon even being a character was because in the WWF, was because of my best friend watching the WWF. More than WCW. As a matter of fact, I think the only reason he knew about WCW was because that's what I watched. Matter of fact, he watched a WCW pay-per-view with me once. So I don't even know if that was possible, because I remember looking in he and his brother's rooms when I was a kid or a teenager. Most of the videotapes about wrestling were WWF pay-per-views. So it showed that he was more of a WWF fan. But it was still fun to talk to him regardless of which show I watched. So that's what a lot of this is about watching things I never was able to watch. And more than anything, I'm just happy, I'm just thankful for the network, or even YouTube for that matter. Because there's so many videos I've never been able to watch because of either being too young to have seen it live, or because of how bad it was. So, being that it's an archived video on the network or on YouTube, you can fast forward it to see matches that you want to see or that you know about. So, I just thought I'd share with y'all the changing of this podcast name or topic. And I'll just end it right here and say thank you to Spreaker that I can add more than one show at a time. And thank you to whoever started the ProWrestling.fandom website. Because all the episodes that I want to see but don't know what's on them, I can find out on their website to know what to look out for. Okay. The reason I have to stop this and do another episode is because I want to watch the video live, and since it says on Patreon or Twitch.tv, y'all won't be able to watch the video alongside with me, so I'll make another episode about it, and then they'll start the official topic. But as I'm talking right here, I'll just start talking about the as I'm talking right here, I'll just go down to 2002 and just talk about I'll do a few episodes about the beginning of 2002. Uh, 2002, January 7th, is the first episode of Monday Night Raw in 2002. It took place in Madison Square, in the famous Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York. Now, I actually remember this, believe it or not, because I believe that Jacqueline interrupted, of all the things to try to win a title with, and they had a t-shirt contest. And you usually see those things in a bar, not in a ring. So I personally am glad that Jackie interrupted it, because that is an unnecessary style of a match to have. So let's see. RVD started the show by beating Test. Billy and Chuck defeated Scotty, 2 Hotty, and Albert. Edge defeated Lance Storm to keep the Intercontinental title. The Rock and Steve Austin defeated Booker T and Big Boss Man, and I believe this was actually supposed to be a handicap match for the world title, as they started calling it. But Ric Flair being 50% co-owner, he didn't like that idea, so he, I believe this is what happened. He changed it to where it was, a tag team match to give The Rock, and I think this was for the heavyweight title, so he tried his best to give The Rock an even playing field in the match. Yeah, I did see this. I remember now. I'm glad I did this, because I always wanted to see how long this lasted. So, right before the wet t-shirt contest, it went to a no contest. Taz and Spike Dudley defeated the Dudley Boys in a hardcore match to win the World Tag Team titles. And I remember watching it, actually on my parents' back, which I'm very sorry for doing this. So that's one of the reasons I'm watching this, is to know what I missed. And I feel better about watching them now because I have the freedom to. So that's actually, the reason I want to see it is to see how long they stay champion. So let's see.